Welcome to a moment of intriguing introspection beyond the realms of fear, hesitancy, and doubt. A deep dive into the questions of the ages shared with the courage that may challenge perception, yet teases open the expansive depth of conscious awareness. This is a rare and unique moment in our collective history. And beyond all sense of dogma, I am Master Lady 𝐼𝐻, promising to call forward the essence of all that you are. Join me as I offer the latest self-ascension revelations with supportive wisdom. And why not remember that peace, love, and joy are your birthright? So this is the moment to bring your hand to your heart and to give yourself the gift of relaxing into a deep breath with a wondrous exhale. I look forward to joining you right now in another episode of Expanding Consciousness. Well, namaste, everyone, and welcome to Expanding Consciousness. I am Master Lady 𝐼𝐻, and I am extremely happy to be here with you for this really extraordinary moment, to be sharing the energy of the Trinity of the green. And I want you to really feel that, because this is, whether this is, you're catching this as part two of a two-part series, or whether you're just catching this on its own, welcome. And welcome over at amfm247.com. Welcome to all the terrestrial radio stations that are on the road with us right now. I am really honored to be here with you, and of course to our incredible YouTube community. And make sure you're subscribed at YouTube, official Sri and 𝐼𝐻, and catch Expanding Consciousness every week, because this is your library. This is your resource. This is your wiki of consciousness, right? It is an opportunity to go to the records that we are all co-creating right now. We are each in a field where we are igniting energetic trip switches, things that have been waiting for us for eons, and connections are happening and things are coming together. And this is why all of the sacred plant medicines are coming forward again. But it's also why you see that simultaneous rise in the expansiveness of the unbottling, the unleashing, the bringing forward of that which has been, through the conscious awareness of that which is. And I want you to really breathe that in, because you might be thinking to yourself, okay, 𝐼𝐻, I get that. But all right, MKR, what I'm not getting is what does that have to do with cannabis, with ayahuasca, with San Pedro, with Wachuma, as we call it in the Cañari? What does that have to do with anything around that? Well, the answer is everything, literally everything. So as you would bring a hands to your heart, as I'm going to do the same, and really invite yourself into a centered space of conscious awareness, I want to take you on a journey. I want to invite you to really go into the consciousness of medicine itself, to be able to perhaps bring yourself to the other side of that, right? And see it from a whole new perspective. I want to invite you to really own the gift of, I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me. The mantra of self-ascension. The most extraordinary 4 lines that Sri and I were ever blessed to receive from 𝐼𝐻𝐸𝐻 came in at the very beginning and have expanded. And all of that application, the self-inquiry, the depth, what in me invited this to be, all of that brings us to a moment where we're able to really open our eyes and smile with the transcendent knowing that is ever present while consciously aware through all of the fields of creation that are sustaining this very moment that we are together right now. Yeah, breathe that one in. Whew, and relax your heart. And so I want to start off this evening where I began. And that is really inviting you to go beyond and receive some information about these three incredible medicines and about the journey of the shaman that you are on. You know, the word shaman itself has its own limitations in perception. If you utilize the word shaman, if you use it, if you speak of it, I'm sure you already have something conjuring in your head. And that's the first place I'd like to begin tonight, is to invite you to ascend your experience, which would mean looking at that 6 o'clock hour, right? That 6 o'clock mental of the 5 medicines which we're weaving. And I'm going to show you that again. So if you were to expand beyond that mental right now, as you connect with a shaman or the energy of shaman, bring in the smile that can appreciate that third dimensional shaman, which is most likely what you're seeing, an image of a person or a type of person. There might be ceremony around that or traditional ways around that. Many, many different things that are beautiful and incredible and important and valuable, and yet are part of a foundational phase. Remember, it's all a trampoline, right? It's all a trampoline. So that's just part of the foundational phase. And then as you look at this word shaman, this is where we often see the sacred medicines, because in the world of density, the sacred medicines were kept in the hands of the shamans for millennia because of the recognition, the conscious awareness. Frequently, the shaman was also the one that was carrying the lineage holder of that tradition, the lineage holder that was carrying a consciousness that was as basically as high a frequency as could happen at the capacity of that time and the interaction and the need for it. But that's where the consciousness was sitting. So if the consciousness itself was being kept by those that were aware of consciousness, the mantle of response ability, meaning the ability to respond rather than react, right? The response ability that comes with that conscious awareness is in the recognition of the highest service of everything. And this would, of course, begin with the conservation, the understanding, and the expansion of consciousness itself. Because if you implode everything, spinning around, right? Remember, in the center, if it all implodes back in, it's consciousness. And so if that consciousness is that still center, that Einstein-Rosen bridge, that 0-point gravity field, and this is why you needed part 1 of this 2-part series. If that's standing right there in that still center, then the physical, 12 o'clock, the emotional, 3 o'clock, the mental, 6 o'clock, spiritual, 9 o'clock, where we have that another tramp, another springboard, right? All of that has an opportunity through its creative nature, because from consciousness, we spring into the physicality, thereby spinning around the wheel, right? So we have within that realm the ability to ignite our consciousness. And in this extraordinary world, this beautiful, beautiful, incredibly rich Mother Gaia, I had to have just green around me tonight as I was sharing with you. We are in a moment where your consciousness itself is inviting you to remember. Hence the planetary rise of the sacred medicines. But simultaneously, and most importantly, the remembrance and the recognition that you are the shaman. You are the carrier of the sacred codes. You are the carrier of the sacred medicines. And you are tuning in to this episode, this part of our library, our wiki of consciousness. You are getting this little book. You pulled this one off the shelf and went, oh, I knew there was more. I knew there was more. Well, you were right. There is. There's a lot more. And your level of consciousness is your veil. If you want to lift your veil, lift your consciousness. So knowing that you are the shaman, knowing that the shamans held this, that the leaders of consciousness were the ones that held the keys to consciousness. Imagine what happens when those keys are put in the hand of a 2-year-old, or they're put, and I don't mean that literally. What I mean by that is, let me make sure I'm very clear. To those that are eager to simply have an experience, to those that are not properly prepared to be able to receive the value and the wisdom of that which is being offered to them, to those that are outside the sincerity, love, and presence that equals miracles, then the sacred medicines become nothing more than plants that have lost the fuel of the unconditional love that sustains this body of form. This body of form knows unconditional love. That's why it's forever reaching and looking for it. In that knowing, in a world of form that we have created, we have here these beautiful 3 green building blocks. And the 3 green building blocks of consciousness, of conscious awareness, because until you can arrive and really be aware of what you were not even aware of, it can be very confusing. And this is the blessing of consciousness expansion. Do you have to have sacred medicine? No. I don't ingest. I have ingested, but I don't, because the gift is in the true shaman's journey of being the medicine. In the moment right now, the frequency that has come in as the unified field, that I am as you are, that frequency sustains a conscious awareness that is beyond the energy of San Pedro. It is beyond the energy of ayahuasca. I don't know if it's beyond the energy of 𝐬𝐝, which is the sacred medicine of cosmic connection of the amazing, mighty 𝐾𝐿 people. And we are being so blessed and honored. And those of you that are going to be here with us in September at Tosa Blue Mountain, the high taita of the 𝐾𝐿 people is bringing the sacred 𝐬𝐝 here. And so that one I'll keep you posted on, because I'm very curious about how that might be our diamond point of these 3. But in this moment, these 3 are cannabis, ayahuasca, and San Pedro. So I first want to talk about the 3 of them together, and how these sacred medicines are building blocks. And I really call them the 3 greens, because each one of them carries a shade of vitality, a shade of energy that weaves the perfect molecule of creation. So when you look at cannabis, one of the things that's extraordinarily important to understand is that, again, this is a medicine. This is a sacred medicine that has found a way to have everything stripped out of it. And consider that this is even in the way it would be processed, or the way it would be offered to you. If you are purchasing something that is really compressed and dark and smells strange and has this energy of greed all over it, then it has one purpose. And that is to addict you to what you experience when you're experiencing it that way. That is not sacred medicine. That is something else entirely different. And I'm not passing judgment. I'm simply inviting you into a higher level of discernment. And this is why you see that with the rise of things, with dispensaries all over the world, with the rise of cultivation, with the rise of awareness, there is a growing remembrance that in the cannabis is really starting to find its voice again. The actual shamanism of this, beyond the definition of a shaman, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? Let go of it, go expand beyond that. You're the shaman. A shaman is nothing more than one that carries the reverence, the respect, and the courage to hold the integrity of that which is, and basically energetic trip switch, inviting your consciousness, your conscious awareness to expand so that you can discover that transcendent smile and be aware of what you were not even aware of, thereby standing in the essence and the energy of being response able. And in that response ability, the law of instantaneous manifestation ignites, and humanity finds its stable presence because the Sea of Neutrality is able to be maintained, because the Sea of Neutrality is a web of unconditional love. It's unconditional love that is moving, that is active through the gift of passionate action, through that energy that is sustained. And so when we look at an energy like cannabis and feel your crown chakra, as I'm sharing with you right now, and you might even hear a high pitched frequency, it's a unifier because it first unifies you with your divine mastery presence. When an organic, beautiful medicine that has been responded to and grown in great love and appreciation and is cultivated with a sacred intention, to receive that medicine is to unlock within you your light body. And there's science around this, and I will talk about that in another episode. But the science around it, let's just put it this way, is like a beautiful mala, right? And let me go to this one. This was Sri Lanka's. And so every bead, this is 108 plus a guru bead. Imagine that there is a sequencing within the sacred intentioning and the science of cannabis that when you are in the energy of the divine presence of you and are guided properly into that experience, you can unlock your light body. And there is a way to sustain that through that sincerity, love, and presence that then becomes the torus field. It becomes that stable 0 point field that's just kind of emanating that field for the potentiality of creation. And in that potentiality of creation, that's like the first green here in this beautiful, beautiful, incredible planetary experience that we're living on. And then within that comes San Pedro. And I want to go there first. And the reason I want to go there first is that San Pedro, we're very, very blessed. Here at Tosa Blue Mountain, San Pedro grows wild. We have so many huge, giant San Pedro. We have one right now that's in the pyramid effect that has 10 flowers on it. Even our on-site biologist has never seen anything. We're documenting the pyramid effects on these San Pedro. So I am honored to live in this beautiful sacred valley. And what's so beautiful about San Pedro, what I have learned by living among it, is that it is a gift of life. It is a gift of remembrance. It is a gift of love. And it is a gift of really sacred, divine, feminine presence. And in the Kunyari traditions, it is called Wachuma. And they very much believe in serving it very, very sweet. And it's very much about this mothering energy. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience that is experienced throughout the day and ingested in the beautiful early morning, just as the sun is coming up, and really being able to witness the blessing of the day. And I will share that the only 2 times I've ever ingested San Pedro was our San Pedro here at Tosa Blue Mountain. And so I do feel very privileged that way. And what the gift of San Pedro, and I'm not just speaking of my own experience, we now facilitate many, many people through these journeys here. And of course, in September, we'll be with the Kunyari as well. San Pedro is the feminine. It is the daylight. It is a moment of birth in action. It is heart, the pure heart that is outside the mind, that is free. So imagine that you have this beautiful open torus field, right? You are the torus field, and you're igniting this torus field, and the torus field is doing all that it's doing. And right in the middle, where consciousness is, right there, comes this huge, radiant infusion of unconditional love. And an explosion of remembrance that is so beautiful and so nourishing that you're reminded of why the sacred sequence of incarnation brought you to this moment right now. Just really breathe that in. Just really breathe that in. And so as you work with this beautiful, beautiful plant, I always think, San Pedro, I love the Kenyari name, the Wachuma, because the Wachuma calls us into a state of clarity without the fear, a moment where we can look at ourselves with so much love that we melt into the recognition, a moment where your divine infinite nature feels safe enough to be present with you, to give you the gift of actually seeing it, knowing it, living it. And so this fills. Imagine, we have this torus field going. So this fills it. It's just like, imagine it's like helium coming in, just rising this balloon, this beautiful journey of love. And really coming into that awareness of what, that there is more, and that you're safe to let yourself see it. And realizing that in the sea of the greens, because there's the sea of the mushroom world as well, but it's a whole other world. But the sea of green is the vast, vast gift of this world that helps to ignite all the worlds, because that's why you took form. So opening with this incredible love, this San Pedro experience, we then find that there is this unification, this balance. So you have this cannabis energy that's been sustaining this kind of field. And then you have this San Pedro energy that is really sustaining this heart and this beautiful feminine. And then there's like, the in-breath and the out-breath. So we're on this in-breath where we're bringing in the feminine, we're bringing in the feminine during the day. And then there's the gentle night, the out-breath, the sa, the relaxing into the infinite, where the beauty of the ayahuasca comes in. And because of where I live, for me, it's very much about the mountains and the Amazon, because the Wachuma, the San Pedro, is very much of the Andes Mountains. And the true ayahuasca, the powerful, the blessed ayahuasca of the pure shamans of the light that we are so honored to be with. This pure plant is the exhale. It's the it's the masculine coming into its benevolence. It's a balancing energy of the feminine and the masculine. And that these two are sustained in a field of creation. So imagine it even as a pyramid, these three together, these three greens that begin this beautiful cycle of illumination that open up a remembrance, and that are really a sacred shaman's journey. And that as you have been connecting with this sharing, I want to remind you that these three greens, in whatever manner, and I'm not saying you should use them all or that you have to, you don't. You can do all of this without any of it. I do not ingest. I have personally ingested San Pedro twice. And the second time I ingested it was solely to ask San Pedro, because it does reveal to you if you have that sincerity, love, and presence energy, that unconditional love. And I asked, show me how those that are ready can really get the maximum benefit. That if it was one time, how would you get the maximum benefit? How could we help those the most? And that's when they showed me the sacred fires of the night before. That's when they showed me the sacred tea of the night before, and how to move through this and prepare the San Pedro in a very unique way, and create the golden berry juice of our golden berries from our property, and how to really be with that. And whatever your sacred energies are, it's really about the appreciation and the knowing. And so breathing that in, I want to go back to something I talked about, because we have these three, and then we have this beautiful ayahuasca that is really in the kettle, right? Really coming together, the blending, the cooking, the bringing it together, the bringing it into form, the exhale into the formed experience. And let's remember that all of that is on the backdrop, as I talked a lot about in part one of this series, the backdrop of water as the ultimate sacred medicine. Because when we look at those 5 medicines that are spinning, that sustain this field of conscious embodiment, 12 o'clock physical, 3 o'clock emotional, 6 o'clock mental, 9 o'clock spiritual, but in the center, that 5th medicine, consciousness itself. When we look at all of that, The water is the consciousness itself. And the water, constantly flowing, renewing, allows us to have this conscious awareness of these beautiful medicines that have been put here to assist us, to be aware that these medicines are here to assist each one of us that is consciously aware to receive the blessing and to know beyond doubt.
That you are ready, that you are the gift, and that all is truly emerging through the blessing of you remembering the shaman that you are. Remember that with every moment, everyone is growing. I love you. Many blessings. Visit 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐴.com and come enjoy the blessing of you at Tosa Blue Mountain Sanctuary right here in Ecuador. Namaste.
Thank you for joining me on Expanding Consciousness. Learn more about the Yoga of Self-Ascension at 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐴.com and make sure you're subscribed to YouTube official 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐴. Remember, you are the gift. I love you and look forward to being with you again. Namaste.